Hello? Is anyone there? Ah, I'm so glad to be seeing you. Hurry, you gotta get this duct tape off of me. Oh, that was kind of easy. Anyways, we need to leave. The guys that captured me said they needed people for some sort of death match. Whatever it is, it can't be good. Run! Run! Arena is awesome. I have never played a game that makes you feel more like a god than Arena. I love this game. This is what peak Tarkov PvP is supposed to be like. Even though the game is severely unbalanced in almost every other aspect, it feeds a deep, dark place within my soul that burns for the non-stop action that is Tarkov PvP. For me, this is paradise. Running around, Goomba stomping other PMCs with a million holes in your body. 1 minute you're getting those crispy headshots, and another you're spraying 100 bullets while someone else does the same to you, like. You have to be a sadist and a masochist to experience the suffering of this game while dishing it out to other PMCs. But oh boy, Arena needs some fixing, or at the very least, some polish around some of the rough edges. As someone who's played Tarkov for a very long time, I would love to see Arena reach its peak potential in both the casual and esports scene. I think it's great that BSG not only expanded on the in-game lore surrounding Arena, but also have it as a separate experience for all of us players to enjoy. Arena has problems, and like many other Tarkov content creators out there, I want to voice my own concern, as I want the game to do well. Right now, because it's something new, Arena's on a hype train and getting a lot of attention. But my biggest fear is that once the dust settles and people have played it for a little bit, it may become stagnant if some of the overarching issues are not fixed. And so I hope BSG, out of the pool of ideas voiced by the community, takes some of them and implement them for the better good, but also to turn Arena into a long-lasting game. And so my first major issue with Arena is the current loadout class system. In a game where we have so many weapon parts and armor, I feel like every loadout in the class is severely unbalanced when compared to other classes, and in some cases, to even its own class.
So one of the things that I feel like is a little bit unfair is that if we take a look at one of the tier 3 kids in CQB, let's take a look at Blackjack. Blackjack fires an M4 that has penetration bullet values of 18, right? This barely pierces level 2. If we go to another class, let's go to Assault, and let's go to another tier 3, so Bunker. This has an AK that shoots bullets of penetration value 31. That already is another armor class up from Blackjack. If we take a look at Ram, this VPO, 35 penetration value, right? If we took a look at Scout, maybe Sawbones, has 37. Wow, that's already up there. If we take Marksman, let's do this RFB, 35. So already, at least if someone were to choose Blackjack, this class and its neighboring tier 3 equivalents, it's already going to be outclassed in terms of sheer penetration power. Sure, the Blackjack has an M4 that's 100 bullets, right? You have 200 bullet mags, right? But none of this really matters if all it takes is 3 or 4 bullets from the higher pen ammo to go right through your armor before you're able to even get your spray down. So it just seems a little bit unfair.
Not only this, but another major issue that builds upon the class loadouts being unbalanced is the progression of the class itself. Upgrading between loadouts in some cases is such a large step that you go from a kit that can barely compete with others to one that completely overpowers them. There's not a fleshed out middle ground that levels the playing field and smoothens the gameplay. And so what can we do about this? It's like, well, I firmly believe that there are enough weapon parts and armors in Tarkov that we can establish a consistent upgrade path of a class. For example, if we take the 4 major classes of Assault, CQB, Scout, and Marksman, right? The first level of weapons can be some of the basic weapons found in Tarkov, categorized by their efficiency. The next tiers can be either upgraded versions of those weapons or better weapon platforms of the same weapon category. If we take CQB as an example, we can make out some of the bigger weapon milestones and fill in the gaps with variations of ammo, weapon parts, or stats that allow for a smoother weapon tree. For armor, this can be similar as well when upgrading between armor coverage and armor classes, forming a step-by-step upgrade path of a loadout, so that one loadout does not completely overpower others in a neighboring tree or class. This offers better flexibility when choosing classes to play, but also increases the strategy when choosing a loadout when you factor in other things like meds, stims, and gear such as headsets and helmets. My second gripe is that matchmaking is just totally unfair. I can deal with the numerous UI buttons and the matchmaking screens to finally get into a match, but if I have a tier 1 kit on, I simply should not be matching with people using tier 4 or tier 5 kits. It makes for a miserable experience as it just makes you feel helpless. Now I know with the current systems of ARP, gear score, and monetary valuations that finding the balance between all of these is hard. I also know that they just released a new patch that introduced a new metric, meta points, that's going to help balance out the matches in the game as well. But maybe I can suggest additional items that can help. My suggestion for this aspect of the game is that since we have ranked-based loadouts tied to ARP itself, let's also expand this categorization to the 4 major classes. In doing so, we create a link between ARP and the loadouts within the class that then we can restrict whenever we load into a match. For example, if the average ARP when loaded into a match is like 2500, the highest loadout tier you can use could be tier 2 or tier 3 loadouts, whichever makes sense for the ARP. Now I know there's going to be some edge cases. For example, what if you are a 5-man team with 4 Timmies and 1 Chad, and the Chad has like 8,000 ARP, right? The Timmies won't have the loadouts that fits the average ARP calculated. Well, since we know the ARP of everyone going into the game, we can just cap off to the floor of the person with the lowest ARP. Another issue is what if a person doesn't have a high enough class to compete in the higher ARP ranges? Well, luckily, there are global ARP loadouts that don't belong to a class. And so at the very minimum, you can at least run these loadouts if you're a god gamer and rank up quickly. However, it's still in your best interest to level up the class themselves. I should also mention that the inclusion of unranked games can help alleviate some of the pitfalls of the previously mentioned ideas. If you just want to play for fun, or maybe just get EXP for some of these trees in these classes, right? Unranked games are a perfect option to allow for that. And then once you rank up, or you feel that you are in a place to compete, then you can move on to ranked matches. These are some of my rough ideas to just help balance out the game. I would much rather suggest an idea and have it be seen, potentially discussed, and then rejected, than just not having it be explored at all, or even considered as a means to an end. Again, I would love to see the game mode thrive and be a popular game for the years to come, as I love the idea of Arena, and I personally believe that a lot of potential can still be brought out. If anyone else has any more ideas or suggestions, please comment out below. Thanks for watching. Hurry, get these cuffs off. Okay, well, I wasn't really struggling. The guys that captured me, no! Right, was that my line? It is loud in here, bro. It is like the loudest thing ever to be in this bag. Oh my goodness. Like, once it's on my head, it's just, sensory overload. You have to be a sadist. Wait, what? I already forgot the line. That levels the playing field. And, now I'm just monotonic.
For example, right? M1 round, right? Penetration, right? Block level 3, right? The scout class, right? And we go to 3 equivalent, right? We saw bones in this case, right? 7 penetration, right? This loadout